point is, people are still complaining about taxes, and that was the history. A 2.3 seems pretty high.
Yeah, and people complain about taxes also with cost of
I'm
living
just saying,
changes.
if you believe people are worried about taxes, if you don't, that's fine. I'm just saying, if you did, 2.3 is pretty high in comparison to historical increases.
Well, it's 2.1 that we're at right now.
Either way, I'm just saying there's a lot of underneath, Leslie, I sent it to you, I'm just, if we had it in front of us, you'd see that there's a lot of years that it's been less than 2%, and people are still upset. Not upset, but they want to hold the line. In my opinion.
I mean, I would be happy reducing a little bit more, but go ahead, Wes.
I mean, I'd like to go a little, like, I'm getting into my level, I'd like to go a little bit lower if we could. I just think that, you know, it's still, for us, it's still early in the night, I have no problem talking through it. My head is maybe reducing transportation a bit, maybe using the fire station for the LEDs. I'm just throwing out ideas, I'm being very popular, but.
If you take 20,000 out, it brings it down to like 1.95.
Of the transportation?
Well, just if you took the windows out, or if you reduced the transportation from 40 to 20.
Yeah, reducing transportation and
You
keep
get
the
under
windows in.
2%.
Yeah, I would be fine with
I
that.
mean, the rate of inflation is,
Well, again, the budgetary maneuver would be to apply the capital reserve reduction of from 40 to 20 on the transportation, and then take that 20 of capital reserve and fund the windows with it. That gets you one tax levy reduction, not two, but that reduces it 20,000.
Okay, so we could get the 20,000 reduction by reducing.
By going to 20 for transportation and then applying that other 20 to fund the river club
I
windows.
mean, I personally would say I would rather go for the stump cutter than, I mean, I just think we're gonna have, the transportation study was our #1 priority for this year, and, we've had numerous public meetings about it. We're talking about wholesale changes in parking, and, I don't want us to, I mean, $20,000 is not a lot of money for signage change. We're not gonna be able to.
Fire stations,
We're not gonna be able to implement, we're not gonna really be able to implement anything.
And I agree with that, but I also know that's gonna take us a while for the policy changes on that. So we'll probably get to another budget cycle before that would even happen.
Once the parking study comes back, if they say meters, if they say sign changes, if they say paying lines, we could use that capital reserve. It's 500,000, so we're saving 40,000 in tax levy. That's the route I would go, because you don't know what to budget for that yet. It could be 100 grand for parking meters, or it could be 20 for lines, but if we have the fire station sale and we know, we agree as a board, that's something we look to implement the parking study, we're still gonna implement it. We just would have a better number at that time, and it wouldn't come out the tax levy.
Yeah, but we still need to budget something for it. I mean, we can't spend something if we haven't budgeted for it. I mean, I'd prefer to keep it at 40 and budget and recognize the $500,000 in capital reserves.
As revenue?
Right. Right, if we don't budget, we can't spend it until 2021.
So what happens if it comes in at 80,000, like, say we want to do meters, it comes in at 80, we can't buy those as reserves?
Well, the standard protocol would require to come before the board as exceeding budget. And the board always asks for a funding source on that as part of the fiscal note. And then at that point in time, if the capital reserves were available, the recommendation, I mean, that's all that's available to us because we've already decided what the tax levy is.
We do that all the time, and then you never report, so budget to budget, you never report any amendments in the middle. So, to date, that I've been on the board, so it would just be exactly like we always do. Come in front of the board, we say, we want to implement parking meters, and we're going to take it from capital reserves, and we say, yeah, if that's the real
Well,
board.
that's true.
But
We
if you
could,
think I don't, that's,
all right, so we could take that down to 0, and
Yeah.
with the understanding that we'll fund it out of the $500,000 capital reserves, and then we could fund, right, so we could fund, 20,000 River Club window replacement and 20,000 of the LED upgrade. I mean, we could just move that 40 to other projects,
So in the 40
levy
comes
funded
20.
projects.
or not. Or not, or just lower the tax rate.
That's how we would lower the tax rate. We'd have to just
Which is in
reallocate the capital reserves to projects that are currently tax funded. Right?
That's correct.
Overall, I'm a little reluctant. I mean, I'm comfortable with the 1.95 because it keeps us up with inflation. If we keep wind every year, what's the fire department at 2.8 or something? I mean, that's, so the other balance has to come out of the other departments. You're just gonna, if you can keep it as close to the cost of living, at least you won't be going farther and farther in the hole.
But when the cost of living was 0, we raised it 2%, so I don't know that that analogy is correct.
Well, we've also had a lot of deferred
we had a
maintenance
chart.
projects, a lot of things over the years
Yes,
that we're catching up with.
Trustee Renza?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, to President Roddick's point, I think, I just want to focus on what the need is now. And I think that, I just know that, I'm on Amtrak and it's about to come in Chicago, so I'll probably get dropped from the call again. So I am comfortable with, like below 2% if that gets, our capital needs met. And I appreciate all the work that's been done tonight.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I hear 3 people comfortable at 1.9%.
Can we discuss the stump cutter? I mean, I do think understanding with the organizational study and, our need for that, and getting that information back, I think, and deferring that, I know that is an old piece of equipment, but understanding the necessity, and is that an option to outsource that, part of the process with the organizational study, I think will give us some of that information. We haven't really discussed.
I agree. I mean, we don't have that information back from the organizational study, and that could very well be a savings overall to contract out that particular task. So why would we make a major capital investment that kind of precludes us from? So I'm not sure. I think that's worth deferring a year.
So what if stump cutting, the 8,000 to 10,000 buys us what? What's the components of actually removing the stump and the staffing and our other costs?
The contractor would come in and grind the stumps out
Okay.
and drive away. So we would have to do all the cleanup and all the restoration. So it would save the cost of purchasing the stump cutter, but it would add a contract fee annually into our operating budget. And we would still have to do all the cleanup and all the restoration.
Does anybody do all the cleanup? I mean, that would be much more.
It would, but I think if you compare that number to purchasing, it's a messy job. There's not a lot of people in line to do it.
I mean, if the organizational analysis is gonna say we're gonna get out of the business of stump cutting, it's say not 8 to 10, it's a lot of hours in trucks.
So industry standards right now are about $4 an inch to grind the stump. It's $12 per inch to grind the stump and clean up the mess. So that 8 to 10,000 is just the machine, grind it down, you're left with a big pile of mess.
This is just.
Have anyone looked into Whitefish-based contracts? Is that all they do? Do they clean up, do all the cleanup?
Those numbers are from the Whitefish Bay contract.
Okay.
But this is just on the contingency that our stump cutter, I realize it's a small piece of equipment, it's still working, and this is on the contingency that it breaks. So the backup plan is going with the Whitefish Bay Light contract.
I hesitate to use the word backup plan, just because, as we've mentioned, if the stumper fails mid-season, we may not be able to get anyone to come in and finish them for that year. We may have to shut the operation down until the next budget year.
Like we've done with lifeguards and crossing guards.
Well, I'm in favor of waiting for the organizational study and postponing this
I am too.
expense. That's 3, what do you think, Wes?
Well, it kind of depends on, sorry, it depends on where we go. I do want to get under 2, so it depends on where we go with the other pieces. I'm hearing our,
Well, we're under 2 now.
We're at 1.9, what are we at?
1.95.
but how do we get to 1 point,
Yeah,
sorry,
explain how
yeah.
Yeah, where,
I
what
just
we
do
just, what
1.13.
you thinking we did?
Yeah, what did we?
Transport.
Well, we applied the 20,000 of general fund reserves to the River Club, which then makes the River Club tax levy 0. That's the 20,000 that moves you from 2.1 to 1.95.
But there's also 20 extra thousand, right? Because there was 40 for the parking study.
Yeah, we haven't addressed that extra 20.
So before,
So right now, we have 20 in the parking study capital reserves,
Okay.
and we've saved
Did we
20.
take that out?
We moved
Yeah,
that,
we
we
moved that.
moved, no, we moved that so that we have 20 in instead of 40 in capital reserves for transportation parking, we have 20, and 20 to the River Club window replacement. So we got rid of 20,
Go ahead, December 21.
so we're down 20,000 in levy.
so we got rid of
Is
20
there
from
any other way to
transportation.
go down another 20 from maneuvering that 40,000 in the parking study and utilizing the fire sale?
Yeah, I mean, that's another option, we could take 20 out there and we can use the fire sale for the LED upgrades in Village Center.
Could we do that and keep the
Or
stop
we
cover?
could just, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever happens, take out that 40,000 for parking or however you do it. That's 40,000 less, and use that money for the LEDs and for the windows. Is that what you were talking about? So then we'd be down 40,000.
We're not spending it that much, but it's gonna, like, they're gonna cover everything to get rid of 40.
All right, so that would be an addition, we're at 1.95, if we go down to 0 on the transportation parking, and we fund it from the $500,000 when we sell the, fire station, then we're another 20,000, that gets us nets us another 20,000, which gets us to what, 1.7 something?
Perfect,
No, I'm asking for the number, I don't know the number.
174.
Oh, good job.
174, okay, so,
And we got the stump.
Or 175, I'm sorry.
okay, so
That's
I mean,
exactly-
if we were to fund another 24,000 for the LED upgrades from capital reserves, again, based on the $500,000
But if
coming.
we funded all the LED upgrades with capital reserves, part of that reserve is coming from the residual 20. That gets us to 168. So the LED projects and the River Club windows would be from capital reserves. Transportation would be funded as needed in 2021, after we get the fire department payment.
What does that mean as needed? So are we not allocating that?
you're not putting in the budget, you're just gonna, he's gonna come before us when it's ready.
He'll just come and say, this is what's recommended to do in 2020 for, I mean, I just think it's premature to buy a new stump cutter. I mean, we haven't, it's a big capital investment. We're about to do an organizational study. I think it's premature.
I think we've needed it for a while. We've been fortunate that it's worked. We have a forestry department, and I think it's also, I don't know how much we think that an organizational study is gonna tell us to get rid of our forestry department or just outsource piecemeal of it. And
Well, hopefully they'll tell us what kind of equipment we can get rid of and downsize or share with other departments or other municipalities. We've got to do something in the future.
right, we also have to invest in what we have and what our village needs, and we do have the Emerald Ash Bowl, and we have needed this stuff for a while. And, we can say thank you to luck,
Well, why are
I'm
we
comfortable
doing-
with the 1.6, I'm great with the
Then
1.6.
that would be
Why are we
fair.
doing, why are we doing an organizational study if we've already made up our mind that we're
We do a
not,
lot of
that we're
studies,
not,
it
well,
seems.
then I would
Spend a
say
lot of
let's,
money on studies, that's for
then,
sure.
right, let's not spend any money on studies, let's just keep going and let's just do a 2.5% tax increase every year and just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, if that's what the, if that's what
you
the, if
want, I
that's
don't
what the
think that's
philosophy is, then
I
what,
don't
then
think
let's
that's the
save the money on the
philosophy.
organizational study.
I hear that this is a contentious issue for you, I'm fine with the stump cutter.
And so you can't do that, you can't keep raising rates, just look out, we're gonna run out of debt money reserve. So there isn't a choice, we have to find a better way to streamline our services.
Well,
Okay.
okay, I mean,
So I hate to inter, no,
Yeah, you're.
I'm gonna interject.
you're-
I feel strongly we need to do an organizational study. Let's now recalibrate with some of, like, can we recalibrate on what some of the options are? Moving forward?
What are you talking about?
Well, and just in terms of where we're at, because we've gone through the list,
Yeah.
what's, you know,
We are.
Well, according to my notes, I'm hearing and I'll use the word consensus loosely, but that the LED upgrade projects, both of them and the River Club window replacements, we funded with, we'll call existing capital reserves. Because I don't know what the actual capital, I'm estimating, so let's assume that's within $10,000 one way or another, and we'll find a way. The transportation and parking implementation is gonna stay as a line item in the budget, because I have a tendency to leave those things that are unfinished business. And at some point, if the board decides it wants to commit resources to that implementation in 2020, we would come forth with a cost estimate to do so, from which the board would then approve or disapprove, but the only funding source available for that then is capital reserves, based on the money we're going to receive in February or March
January.
Yes.
Yeah.
from the fire
Correct.
department.